What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back with another live stream here, talking about everything going on so far. Daniel Farke, a place in the table, form, everything else, and anything else in between. Listen, there's a lot to discuss. The Christmas period started off well, and then in Leeds United fashion, it ended badly, as only we do. But we know this, people. But we've got a lot to talk about. Got time on this one. So anyone joining me live, get involved in the chat. And shout out to everyone joining me live. Yeah, I see people coming in. Please hit a like on the video. You know what to do. That's the best way to help out the channel. Subscribe to the channel and drop your comments after if you're watching the replay. Thank you to Carl Brown, who donated a super thanks on the last video. Much appreciated, Carl. And if you want to become a member of the channel, membership links are in the description. Really does help me out and helps the channel out a lot too. So yeah, I want to get, this is more about what you guys are feeling. I'm going to tell you how I'm feeling in regards to Daniel Farke and what he should be doing with this squad. I think the title is pretty much self-explanatory there, and the thumbnail as well, with those players involved, and it's got the back of Rodon's head in there as well as Strauch. Because when you look at the team, I don't see this team being someone that should be a team 14 points behind Leicester. Now, I acknowledge Leicester City are the best team in the division, quite clearly, by the way. But there's no way that we should be doing as badly as we are with the players that we have. And I want to get into those reasons why and what you believe the reasons are as well. Adam here just talking about the Preston game. If Meslier didn't do that, got himself sent off, we could have drawn. He ruined it for us. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, at that time of the game anyway, Preston were all over us. But you're right, Adam, in terms of 11 versus 11, all it takes is one little half opportunity from one of our front four and we could easily have gotten back in the game. But it wasn't trending that way. But hey, listen, it's all hypothetical. What I'm going to be discussing today, obviously, is what we can guess is going to happen going forward, but as what has actually happened so far. So these are things that can't be argued, they can't be denied. These are things that have happened, and stats and things that we've seen already. Ricky here saying plenty of time to get into automatic promotion places. Have faith. Yeah, I mean, look, it's not over, but we are now talking about a situation where we're looking more of consolidating our place in the top 6 rather than knocking on the door of the top 2. That is the reality of where we are right now. There's no point looking at it any other way. Listen, we're on the 27th of December today. I was hoping at this point we'll be talking about consolidating a top 2 spot, thinking about what we need in January in terms of reinforcements for the team. We still need that. But right now we're talking about it could be a case of, are we going to keep everybody? And I've mentioned this before, and people obviously don't want to hear it, but if you're not in touch with the top 2, and now we're hearing Somerville's got interest from sides like Villa who are shooting for different things than what we are, there's always a risk of a player going, you know what, it looks like we're probably not going to make it this year. Please accept the best offer for me. And that's what we've got to be careful of now in the January window. I think the 49ers enterprises will keep all the players that they possibly can, but we're not in the strongest position like Sheffield United were last year with Berger and Dye, where they were in the top 2 and running the show. We're not in that position right now. And how did it happen after we beat Ipswich 4-0? Only we could have beaten Ipswich 4-0. And by the time they've played their game against Leicester, they get a boost because of our next result. It's insane. Only Leeds United, people. Only Leeds United. Michael here, morning. Yeah, listen, shout out to everybody. Shout out to everyone. Bobby here. Why do we only seem to press against the good teams? We look so half-assed against the bad teams. We're going to talk about that, Bobby. Yeah. Let's have a look. Yeah. Robert, we need to bring in some new players in January. We do, Robert. And what I'm going to base this off, because like I say, we're on the 27th of December. We've got to base this on the fact that Farke is going to be here. Is that fair? Because I don't think that we're going to go into January with I don't think it's going to be like the old regime where we go in with a manager, then sack him in February. I don't think that's going to happen under the 49ers. They've invested a lot in Farke. So I think that the recruitment's going to be done with Farke and he's going to be the manager going forward. But he has to make changes quite clearly. And it's quite funny. I've put this video in my 1-year loan musings folder on YouTube. And I said all this. I said a lot of this stuff back at the start, where Farke needs to do better with the squad. It's kind of a constant theme. But yeah, listen. Let's have a look. Yeah, Dave, and I want to bring this up as well, just for one other thing. Dave here is talking about we have to forget what happened before the transfer window closed. That happened, and the only way we're going to catch it, and the only way I'm going to catch this episode is by the only way we're going to catch Ipswich and Leicester up is by beating teams like Rotherham, Sunderland, Preston. Exactly, David, and that's what I want to. That's what I want to get out of the way. No more talking about the first month of the season anymore. I think we've beaten that to death. That's been and gone. We've got a much bigger sample size of games after that period. It's fair now. He handled that well. There's no rewriting that. He handled that very well in such a turmoil and a turbulent time of the club. But we've been calm since then. Very calm, in fact, where we've named the same team pretty much every single week, people. Um, Spencer here, catching you live again, KG. Always love your views. They're the same as mine, mate. Keep up the great work. No, are they all the same? But listen, thank you for catching me, Spencer, man. Shout out to you. And John Brotherton, so Farke will play Gray again at WBA. Okay, so here we go, people. I covered a lot of what Daniel Farke said after the game against Preston, where there was very little accountability on his part for his part of the defeat. It was the referee's fault. It was their players' fault. And, you know, he's got to be more accountable than that. But some of the quotes that he said blew my mind, you know, and this is what we're talking about with stubbornness and not having self accountability. Here on Archie Gray, and this is what he said. It was tough because Miller is a good player. I think Gray handled many situations well, but if you're involved in a crucial situation, Archie knows he should have closed him down quicker. Sometimes you learn most out of difficult days. He then continues, I don't want to blame Archie that much. I'd rather talk about our offensive game in the first half. And then on whether he should have done anything differently, after a game, you would try to change everything, but you have to make decisions before the game. And I would do the same as before. Guys, those quotes are absolutely shocking. I'm sorry, they are absolutely shocking. Really, really bad. What Daniel Farke should have said at this point is, you know what, Gray was having a tough time from the start of the game. I should have done something. I should have helped Archie out there. Instead, he's talking about Archie could have got closer. From minute one, Archie was not close to Miller. Not one time. Not one time. And for me, if I'm Archie Gray, I'm thinking, listen, I'm doing the best I can at right back. It's not going well for me over the last month or so. Can you help me out here a bit, boss? Can you help me out a little bit, please? I'm playing out of position. I'm getting cooked, and you still want to put it on me like I needed to get a bit closer, even though I wasn't getting close all game. I think that's really poor, really, really poor. T85 is saying Archie is going to end up like Lewis Cook. I mean, it is scary quotes, and it's one of these things where we've seen Daniel Farke say things publicly and then do the complete opposite with his actions. I can only hope that he's saying to Archie Gray when he's reviewed the tape, when he's looked back at it, because he knows that defeat against Preston was a shocker. When he's looked back at it and said to Archie, "Listen, it was on me, not you, and I apologize," because I wouldn't be happy if I was Archie Gray, seriously. And let me make it clear: this isn't on Archie. Yes, he had a bad game against Preston, but this isn't on him. He shouldn't be playing at right back. Instead, what we're getting is this. Leeds United have named the same starting 11 in 4 games in a row for the first time since October 2019. And that's more the point than the rest of the quote. But that is part of the problem, because Archie Gray should be used in the midfield. Now, if that means you have to have a tough conversation with Kamara, Ampadu, and Gray to say, listen, one of you guys are going to have to miss out this week, that's what you've got to do. But this thing at right back isn't working for Archie no more. It isn't. The only time it works for Archie is when we are at home and we are the dominant team and we've got the ball. Archie is then able to move into midfield to help link the play, which is what he does because he's a midfielder. Away from home, it's been terrible. Really and truly, it was terrible. John here, Miller imposed himself on the game. Only Rutter tries to impose himself. Far too many hid. Yeah, listen, and the worst thing was he wasn't getting doubled up on. He was left isolated with Archie. It was very rare that anyone came back to help out. But again, this is on the manager. And another observation from yesterday's game was even after the red card, Daniel Farke was just sitting there. he didn't get up until it was like the 90 something minute or maybe 80 something minute, whichever it was. But he was just sitting there. Your coach is everything to the team, absolutely everything. When you'll see Mikel Arteta on the sidelines doing all these hand signals and doing that, he's keeping his players engaged. Daniel Farke was sitting there, and I'm not saying it was in an arrogant way because I don't know, but it was almost looking like, okay, we're down to 10 men, but Preston, they're on a bad run of form. The manager's almost out the door, that he's been given a public vote of confidence by Peter Ridsdale. We should still be okay. And then we concede within 3 minutes of Meslier getting sent off, and he's still just sitting there, people. Now, I'm not saying he needs to be a balmy man and do all the Mikel stuff, but your team needed help, and it was quite clear they needed help. They make some questionable substitutions. Listen, there was many things that Farke could have done, but this is a theme that keeps on coming up. It keeps on coming up. Um, Karen here saying really shocked by those quotes from Farke, but yeah, I mean, Karen, the thing is though, we've heard about Farke being a bit arrogant before, being a bit, stubborn. And we're seeing it. We're really seeing it. You know me, people. I love confident managers. I love Jose Mourinho, but he's on the right to be arrogant at points. Daniel Farke hasn't. He's got 2 promotions. Okay, cool. That was with Norwich City. This is Leeds United, people. This is a completely different kettle of fish. And these kind of quotes, they don't do nothing for me. They don't do nothing for me. He needs to be more proactive. That's more of the thing as well. He's talking to the referee at the end, and this was the other thing as well. Let me just get. I've got a few slides today, people. So there's a lot of information today. This is from Phil Hayes' article, and this is what we heard from him after. Instead of putting the accountability on Meslier, much like he did for Joe Roden when he got sent off in that game, he was talking more about the Preston player overacting. Whether the Preston player is still rolling today, thinking that he's been knocked out by Anthony Joshua, the fact is Meslier put his hand up. And what did I said to you yesterday, people, go and watch other games today. You'll see that motion from a player that has the goalkeeper catch the ball, then they give him a little nudge as they're running back up the pitch as they regroup. Happens in every single game. And it happened in every game I watched last night on Prime, the Premier League. And in one particular case, Sheffield United Luton, Fotheringham got blocked off by Townsend. You know what Fotheringham does? He just goes, hey, ref. He doesn't size up to Townsend. He doesn't put his hand in anyone's face. Otherwise, that happens in every game, but yet there were still fans excusing it. But what doesn't help fans excusing it is when the manager tries to make out like Meslier is not completely in the wrong. He was 100% in the wrong. The Preston players did what they're supposed to do. Listen, Preston aren't the best team. They're not the best team, so they're going to use every advantage they can. That's what they're supposed to do. It's up to Leeds as the better team with the better players in the better form, better league position to overcome that. And we didn't do it. Bobby Meslier just had to keep his head. It really is as simple as that. We wouldn't be talking about Whiteman nudging Meslier if Meslier just continued with the game and threw it up. We wouldn't be going back to that incident and going, hey, remember when Whiteman ran into Meslier? Man, that was out of order. No one would care. No one would even be talking about it. But Meslier made it a thing. T85, I gotta say, you keep on mentioning players that aren't here anymore. We got to concentrate on what we've got now, and also things that we can do going forward. I've seen you mention Tyler Adams, Alioski, T85. You got to move on, people. Honestly, this is part of the problem that we've got at the football club, though. We need to move on and move forward. Some people just can't move on. Gavin here, you know what? Someone left a comment like this yesterday. It did make me laugh. Of all the things that Meslier, I think it was paraphrasing, of all the things Meslier connected with, he finally connected with someone's face. I thought that was pretty funny myself. But yeah, Gavin here saying it was the only punch landed by Meslier this season. Yeah, and now he's out for 3 games, and that would have given Ipswich a boost as well. We're talking about everything that's consequential to Leeds United here, and Ipswich seeing that we've lost the game first of all is a boost in itself. Now we're going to have to unsettle the settled back 5 that we've had. We're going to have to unsettle the defense with a new goalkeeper coming in, and that was another thing I think he says here. Let me just go back here. Yeah, here we are, people. Carrying on down. Farke is weighing up changes for West Brom, and now switching goal will be one, obviously, but here's what Daniel Farke said. It's important that just because of Carl, we don't have to change too much. The defense has to know that his strong foot is his right, not the left. He's perhaps used to being a bit more pragmatic with the size of the offensive players. We maybe have to be ready for a few more longer balls and adapt our behavior a bit, but Carl knows our process. I'm sure he'll be there with good performances. That to me says that we're going to probably see the same team again against West Brom. It- when he told us though in the press conference we're going to see rotation because of the amount of games. We haven't seen it yet, and it doesn't sound like it now. It sounds like there's an excuse just because Carl Darlow has seen these players work that we may have to keep the same team. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know. Um, no. Let me see. Vanilla Coffee Melier was rightly sent off, but I thought the ref was quite weak throughout the game. Yeah, but we also got a weak penalty, which no one wants to really discuss. It's listen. I'm not one of those fans that see everything that anything that goes against us. It means the world's against us, and I like that. I like that. I support the team, but I can see where we've gone wrong. But we also got a weak penalty. Dan James sold it well, and I commend him for that because he wasn't doing that before. He would have got up and not complained. Instead, he rolled around a little and played the game. That's what you have to do these days. It's ugly, but you have to do it. And it was a soft penalty, but it was a penalty, and we got it. But no one wants to speak about that. They just want to keep giving Melier all the excuse in the world. Well, I'm not here for that, man. Um, Nidar saying Farker will lose half the dressing room if he doesn't use them. This is another thing. This is another thing that Farker says. People, I'm only going by what Daniel Farke has said and his actions so far. He has said that you need more than 11 players to win the league. You need a squad. We're not using the squad. Has Let me ask you, people, because I don't know and I couldn't find a stat for it. Has Jaden Anthony actually played 90 minutes in total for Leeds since he come here? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being serious because when Jaden Anthony comes on, he gets make a wish minutes. He doesn't come on for 20 minutes here. He comes on for 10, 5 minutes. Nanto the same. These players aren't completely match fit because they're not getting enough time on the pitch. No, he hasn't. I don't think I'm sure he hasn't as well. Adam's saying no. Karen saying no. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I didn't think so. But that could be the same said for a lot of them. Gruev as well, since his 5 million deal. We've barely seen him and we've played Ampadu into the ground, even when Ampadu was going off the boil just a touch. But that's what you use your squad for. And he's not doing that. He's not doing that, and that's again where we get the other side of Farker when he's saying that no one's going to leave. Now he could be saying that as a strong point, as a strong arming thing to other teams to think we're not going to get their players that easily. If we want Charlie Creswell, we're going to have to put up some decent money. But when you're not playing players in 2023, you got no choice. They will go. You know, you can only do so much. They will leave the club. You don't have that much power, especially when they're not being played. And their agents will be working behind the scenes saying, hey, what have you got for Charlie Creswell? Are you going to play him? Because if he's leaving Leeds, we need to make sure he's going to get first team football. These conversations happen all the time. You know, I've let me say it. These things happen all the time. And I don't know if the squad is completely happy. Yeah, T85. Vel Steel, they are invincible. I know he's really running that one in the ground, isn't it? Um, Samuel he's saying we are average team overachieving. Don't believe the hype that we're much better in particular departments. We belong in this league and we aren't going back to the Premier League. I mean, I think I've seen your name before, Samuel. So I do think that maybe you're just pessimistic. But what I would say to that, Samuel, is are you going to be saying the same thing that if we are to sell one of our better players, and I'm talking a Somerville or something like that, will you be the one, another one of those that will say, "Ah, now look, we've sold one of our best players. Oh, and now, yeah, we definitely got no chance of going up." Or are you just talking about a collective? Because this is what happens as well. We say we've got an average team. We haven't. We have not got an average team. How many players in our starting 11 that Daniel Farke uses would you say is an average player in this division? Seriously, there's not many. Even Straucher's improved. He's been much improved this season. You know, he's actually leading a bit now, Pascal. I'm impressed, quietly impressed though, because I've gassed up Pascal before and it's landed egg on my face. But apart from Melier, and that's just a personal thing for me, who else would you say in this starting 11 you wouldn't have in the championship? Okay, Samuel's saying I'm not like that collective. Okay, no problem. Chris is saying on our day we beat anyone in this division. Yeah. Adam here saying Rutter and Perot not clinical enough. What I would say as well with Joel Perot, because Peru, sorry, he's getting a lot of flack. But even we're talking about Archie playing out of position. He's having to adapt to a new position. How many times do we see Joel Perot trying to link the play from behind his own halfway line? Even if you were saying he was a number 10 at Swansea, he wasn't playing that deep. And not everybody is Harry Kane who can do that. So he's having to adapt to something new, but he's still got a good goal return, people. Um, Darren here, what's the point of having Furpo and Byram on the bench? What a waste of a sub. Darren, spot on. Spot on, man. And listen, with Sam Byram, and this is another thing he could have done. Sam Byram is on the bench, which means he's fit. Otherwise, he's not going to be on the bench just for show. With all due respect to Sam Byram, again, who's been excellent for us this season, so no shade on him. But Preston aren't going to be looking at the bench going, "Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! They got Sam Byram to use. We need to be on our toes here." No, he's obviously fit to play, and he still didn't utilize him. He could have even put him at right back and left Jed at left. But the ideal thing would have been Sam Byram at left back, Jed at right, and then you know what? Miller wouldn't have had such a good time. Seriously, there's so many things that could have been done. It's unbelievable, but we're just fans. Remember, he is the coach. He knows all. And to some people, you can't question that. Well, here you can, you can. Samuel saying thanks for reading my comments. I read all comments when I see them and when it's prevalent to what I'm talking about. No worries, man. And even if you disagree, I will put it up. You know what? It's just football debate, man. That's what we're here for. Karen here, Perot needs to be played in his right position. I agree. And even if it's just behind the striker, let's just say for argument's sake, it's just behind. That's still better than the positions I see him taking up. At some points, he was back in the defensive box, not even from a set piece, defending. Why is Joel Perot someone that scored 22 goals in the last each of last two seasons, doing all that stuff? Why? But yeah. Yeah, Gary, what I don't even like is the fact we won't even try pro at 9. And that's another thing that happens in other games. We see Jorginho, who is not a natural finisher, having most of the big chances and he misses them. And again, once again, you cannot put that on Jorginho. Can he be coached to finish better? Of course he can. But at this point, Jorginho is not the finished article, but he's a creator. But he seems to be at the end of all these moves. I would much rather we have a conversation about Perot missing all these chances than Perot not being involved in the game because he's having to do work that he's unfamiliar with. That's just me. Yeah, he did, man. It was Miller time, Nate. It was hard to watch, man. I didn't like seeing Archie get cooked like that, man. Really and truly. William here, shout out to you, William, man. Always supporting the channel. Thank you so much. William here saying left back is a must, would like a 10 as well. Shifting mentality to every game is a big game for players, 100%. Farke needs one as well. Too stubborn. Not sure he would use new addition if we got them. I think he would because I think he's involved heavily in the recruitment. And that's another thing we have to say, people. Okay, this is opinion based, but I think the recruitment for this division, in terms of what we got in, has been spot on. I don't think we've had a miss so far. Would anyone disagree with that? Okay, Carl Darlow, we're about to see what he can do in 3 games straight, so we can judge that better then. Gruev, we've seen here and there, but every signing so far has been a hit. So it can't be that the talent or recruitment hasn't been good enough. Every team is a mirror of their manager. That's why they get paid so much. That's why the pressure is always heavy on them. That's why they get praised heavily when they win things or do well. And when it goes wrong, it's on their shoulders. That's just the way it is. Adam, Farke getting too boring now. We need to change the gaffer. I am interested though. I've seen Steve Cooper being mentioned. Obviously, he did very well with Forest. Who would people get? I'm just interested. I don't think it's going to happen. I maintain. I think we with Daniel Farke, the 49ers have invested in him. I think he stays. But who would people get? Because I do think we should be getting more out of this team. And when we look at this, just want to show this from yesterday. Obviously, we've seen Southampton jump above us. They battered Swansea 5-0. And Southampton are another team as well, by the way. I need to say this. They've got an average goalkeeper too. Gavin Bazunu is not a good goalkeeper, much like Melier. In fact, he's probably worse than Melier. So that tells you what I think of Gavin Bazunu. But you know what? Southampton are getting it done. And for all our good run that we had, was it 7 wins in 8 or whatever it was, 6 wins in 7, whichever one it was, that's cute, but it's not this, is it? Southampton are enjoying an unbeaten 16 match run, won 11, drawn 5, the longest ongoing run of any current side in the top 4 tiers of English football. And these are the teams above us. And shout out to LUFC Data. I was going to say all of this anyway, but he's always on top of it. And shout out to LUFC Day. If you're not following him, go give him a follow on Twitter because he's got all this good stuff and all that other stuff like XG if you love all that kind of stuff too. But listen, the top 3 who are above us, Leicester City have made the best ever start to a championship season since the league's rebranded in 2004, winning 19 of the first 24 matches played. Another level. Ipswich Town have made the best ever start by a newly promoted side in Football League history, with no side ever having won 16 from the first 24 played. And I've already read the Southampton one. There is no reason why we couldn't be doing one of these 3 things. Sorry, there really is no reason. So that's little 6 in 7 that we did was cute. But Southampton has said, well, that's nice and lovely. We're going to tap you on the head. That well done, little boy. Well done. This is what we're doing. And we should be doing that kind of thing. What's everyone saying here? Yeah, and Chris, you know what, Chris? Yeah, this is the point I was going to raise as well. So shout out to you guys, man. You guys are good, man. You guys are good. But I was going to say this: we play West Brom. We're currently 6 points ahead of them, and I'll say only 6 points ahead of them because West Brom have been a Midland Championship club, but we should be doing much better than 6 points ahead of West Brom. But Chris is right. If they beat us, we're only 3 points ahead of them. That's not acceptable. So instead of now talking about a top 2 race, we're having to talk about sticking in the top 6. No, not good enough. Seriously, not good enough. Michael here, yeah. Look at Southampton, Leicester, and even Ipswich squad rotation over the last few games. They've all done it, Michael. Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. They've all done it. I remember the game where people thought Leicester might get unstuck because they made a few changes. They dropped about 5 players and they still won the game. I think it was 4-1. And the thing is, as well, there's no reason why we can't do that with the changes. Are we any worse if we start Willie Nanto in a game? Gruev, give Ampadu a break? We're not any worse. Those are good additions to put in the rotation. You know what I mean? These are good players to put in the rotation. We wouldn't be losing a lot. Nidar saying, so much for being too good for the playoffs when we can't even beat Preston. Well, this is another thing that's pretty damning. Sorry about this stream, people. I know it's not great, but look, we're only 4th in the championship, and with the team we have, we should, if we were 4th, it should be like a 4-way race where we're all near enough on the same points, but we're not. We're 14 behind Leicester, and we're farther behind Ipswich, even though we beat them 4-0 very recently. Only Leeds United. But you mentioned this, Nidar, in this top 6 for the playoffs. So far, we haven't beaten West Brom. We'll see how we get on Friday. But we also haven't beaten Sunderland. You know, we haven't beaten them either. So, yeah, it's a mad one still. It's a mad one. Yeah. Blinkyfish, we are so inconsistent. We are. Don James here saying Nanto done nothing. I mean, that's all well and good saying that, Don, but when you're only getting charity minutes to prove something, or at what did he get the other game? Half an hour. How much impact can you make? And this is not me making an excuse, but this is also a player that's been injured a lot. He hasn't played a lot of football, so it wouldn't have behooved Daniel Farke to give him a start, say against Coventry at home, but he didn't. He kept the same team. So you can say he's not doing nothing. I do want to see more from Nanto when he comes off the bench. I do agree with that, but how fit are these players? SJ saying, I want to see more of Joseph. That's another thing as well. Dave here saying, KG, poor teams know how to set up against us. Yeah, well, it's more away, isn't it, Dave? Because look at this. I'm pretty prepared today. I'm you know me. I'm not a professional, but I act like one. So we're talking about Hull City there. We got a 0-0. This is a game where apparently we didn't get no luck, even though Hull hit the post at the very end to at least let us escape with a point. The Southampton game, and you know what? This is the game where Joe Roden was benched after he was back from suspension, even though it wasn't on him. He made a mistake, but he should have been played in this game. And Southampton at that time as well, if you remember, their manager was on the brink of the sack, and we give him a 3-1 win, a very easy one as well. The Stoke City game, poor. This game here, we should have beaten Huddersfield by 6-7, really and truly. That was a great game. That was a Premier League game. That was a good tactical battle. No complaints. But then here, Rotherham, 1-1 with Rotherham away. No, bro. Sunderland, poor. And Stoke is there somewhere. I think I've gone past it, haven't I? Stoke. Oh yeah, I've already said Stoke. Yeah, that one. That's with the changes he made. But that's what I'm saying. A 1-1 draw against Coventry at home. And this is the thing as well that's kind of probably saving him a bit is our home form, because we're unbeaten there, but we draw in some games there where we shouldn't be drawing. Leicester and Ipswich aren't drawing those games. And you look at Ipswich's result yesterday. They were 1-0 down to Leicester until the last minute, and they get a draw. Do you know how morale boosting that is going to be for that team, especially after our result? Darren, I would, yeah, Farke is meeting the bare minimum requirement. I completely agree with that sentence. I'm with you there. It is the bare minimum with this team. From the thumbnail alone, people of who I've put on this thumbnail, if they were at any other club in this league, we'd be envious. We'd be saying, "Wow, that is a lot of talent in this team." That alone, even if you had like nincompoops playing behind them, which we don't. Pascal and Rodon's been a good partnership. Melier is Melier. Sam Byram has been good at left back, has improved over the season as well with his left foot. Ampadu and Kamara at times are a cheat code in this league. There is very little. It's on the tactics and the manager and the inflexibility of the manager at this point. Blinky Fish is saying Ipswich was a lucky goal. I hear that, and I also know about the whole Leicester penalty thing, but it's happened. They've got that luck. They created that luck. However it happened, they've created it. Much like how Preston got us down to 10 men with whatever that was. Well, we created that for ourselves, but you get luck for and against you. Yeah, T85. Even Watford managed to go to Preston and score with 4 with no reply. Yeah, but it seems to be. How many times have I said on here we are due to give someone a battering this season? And Ipswich was the most complete performance, brilliant performance. That is so complete. But I'm talking about a battering where teams are just they don't know what to do. And Huddersfield were that in the first half, but then the second half they won the second half 1-0, and they should never have done that. That's from the manager, I'm afraid. Yeah, Ryan, 100%. Yeah, you make your own luck, 100%. You absolutely do. Mikey is saying Farke is holding his team back. It's hard not to look at it that way, Mikey. And this is the reason I didn't want to do it straight after the game yesterday, because I was so disappointed with that result, really and truly frustrated with that result against Preston. And I wanted to do it with a clearer head, get some data together from what we've seen, and then what we can hope for going forward. Because let's just say Farke isn't going to get sacked, which I don't think he will at this point, unless it gets really sticky. And that probably comes with a home loss, people. I think once we lose at home, I think that's when you probably hear the home fans let out a few boos, possibly. But what will he do to change? And I'm almost at the point where I was with Bielsa near the end of his tenure, where it's like, well, we know Bielsa's not going to change. We're going to keep going man for man, even with this inferior squad that we've got compared to everyone else. And he's going to die on this sword. And he did. He died on that sword. I just don't know what Farke's going to do. When we recruit a left back in January, which I believe we will, people, maybe you call me naive, but I think we will this time. Will we get more balance then? Will he play them? I don't know, people. I need you to give me some answers, because right now I just know what I'm seeing isn't good enough overall from this football team after 24 games played in the championship. I just know the results haven't been what they should be with the level of talent that we have. Guys, if anyone else in this league had Ampadu and Kamara as their two, we'd be envious. We would. Unless you don't rate them to, which is fine at this level. If you don't rate them, that's your prerogative. But you know, I watch enough football to know that those two in this division is a cheat code. Um, yeah, Ryan, he obviously doesn't trust the bench enough to rotate, which is worrying. Yeah, and that is why you've got to hope if he's given the green light in January to make signings, that he will use them because I'm sure he was involved in the Gruev signing. Whether he doesn't believe that Gruev is good enough for the English leagues, or maybe not physical enough, I don't know. But that was one of his signings. He has input on all of them. Um, Sam here saying Spence at right back, Byram at left back, Gruev in for Ampadu, freshen it up, Nanto in for Peru. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does need changing, but we'll see, Sam, because as I said from that quote earlier, doesn't look like he's going to change much against West Brom, but we shall see. And I'll do a preview for that tomorrow. Gavin saying no goals from midfield is an issue. Yeah, I mean, it went down as an own goal in the end, didn't it, by Ipswich? But it was Sam Morsey yet again who came in clutch for him just the other week. And as good as Ampadu and Kamara, they're not goal scorers. They're not going to do that for you. And that's where Archie Gray will come in. I truly believe, and again, this is speculative. This hasn't happened, but if Archie Gray was playing in his preferred midfield role, I think he'd probably be on 2-3 goals by now because he loves to get involved in that play, whether he's passing, making that final pass, or shooting. He does that. But yeah, we've got no goals from midfield, which has been an issue for a few years. SJ saying Amson Cammer class, but you can't ignore the fact that they haven't got a goal in them. I mean, I can because they're not goal scorers. I mean, maybe Glenn Kamara could possibly do a bit better in the goal scoring area, but they're not there for that. But again, that's not on them, and that's why I guess SJ people saying that we need another number 10. I say another, and we need a number 10 to do that part of the game. But I'm not going to go at Ampadu and Kamara for not goal scoring because that isn't their job. Not saying that they should never score a goal, but I'm not expecting Ampadu to get 5 goals a season or even Kamara. I believe that they'd be the move before the goal or the lead up to the goal, maybe the second assist to the goal. But I don't expect them to score. By the way, we've seen Ampadu shoot enough, and there's enough people in the crowd that have been hurt from those shots, people. um, Yeah, exactly, Bobby. We have a front four to score goals. Don't expect goals from Kamara and Ampadu. Yeah, it would be nice. I'm not saying it's illegal. It would be nice. But when you look at the front four, again, their stats, they're off the charts. Even Peru, who's been criticized, he's on, was he 9 goals now, 1 assist or 2 assists now, I should say. Dan James has done his thing. Crescencio is head and shoulders above everyone along with Jorginho. They're doing their part. People are doing their part, but there's just something there that isn't getting the consistent results. GK here saying, sorry, I wouldn't want any other manager. This guy's got promoted twice out of this division. We should be careful what we wish for. And I hear that, GK, in terms of Daniel Farke doing it before. But as I always say, things are different. Norwich City is not Leeds United. And even though Norwich City have had, relatively more success in terms of being promoted, relegated as many times as they have, the expectation of that fan base is nowhere near Leeds United, and the coverage is nowhere near as heavy and hard as it is at Leeds United. It's completely different kettle of fish, as Daniel Farke is probably finding out right now. But I do understand that point of view, but I also do understand people saying that Daniel Farke should be doing more and that they could possibly see someone doing better. Because who knows if Steve Cooper had this group of players, and I don't even rate Steve Cooper like that, but I'm desperate to get out of this division, people. As long-term subscribers know of mine, I hate this league, and I don't use the word hate a lot. You guys know it. I usually say dislike. I don't like championship football. It sucks, like really bad. It sucks. And Jamie here, that's another counterpoint to it, and it is true. GK, just because he's won promotion twice doesn't mean he'd do it again. Yeah, there's always an exception to the rule. Look at Jose Mourinho at Tottenham, even though they sacked him just before the cup final, the frauds. But he didn't win a trophy at Tottenham, but he'd won a trophy everywhere he went. Gareth Bale in his career won a trophy everywhere he went, except for Tottenham, where there's a theme there. But that's why Spursy and Leedsy exist, people. Dave here, another great point. Norwich are also on the team's cup final. That's another point. Look at Preston, man. Brown again. That guy Brown always turning up against Leeds United, and it's a constant theme. Look how many games are on of us over the Christmas period on the main channel, not just via red button. And this is for the UK viewers, I guess. But we're on every single time. We was on against Ipswich, we're on against Preston, and we're on again against West Brom. That's the coverage, that's the scrutiny that this club will get, that you do not get at other clubs in this division. Even Leicester City is recent league champions, FA Cup winners. They are the best team in this division by far. But you know, there's always going to be eyes on Leeds United. It's just the way it is, and it's always been this way. Um, Stu here saying, forget Farke, trust in the 49ers enterprises. They'll bin him the second they see a better option. We'll see, Stu. Only time will tell on that one, but he's got to do more, because right now we're fourth in this table. We've slipped down from third, where we was comfortable for a while, and that's because Southampton have been relentless in the last 16 games, and we haven't been. We're starting to slip into the regular pack. Look at the form on there. 2 reds in there. We shouldn't have that. We shouldn't. Kieran saying, KG correct. Spurs fan here. Bale did win a trophy at Spurs in '08. Was he there in '08, Kieran? Was he there then by then? Maybe he was. I know Woodgate was there because he scored the goal. And I love Jonathan Woodgate. Kieran, let me know. Was Bale there in '08? I'm sure he wasn't, man. But yeah, listen. Sacco say Tottenham catching strays in a championship stream, crazy. And listen, I'm just making the point. There's always an exception to the rule, and sorry, Spurs usually do that. You know, as the great Chiellini said, you know, they always come with chances, but it's the history of the Tottenham. You know. Shout out to you, Sammy, man, and thanks for joining, man, and out there in Australia. Thank you for that. SJ here saying, I think we're missing an on-field leader, especially away from home. SJ, I disagree with that, because like I say, I don't think Pascal is a natural leader, but I think even I've seen Pascal step up in the last few games. And even with that penalty saying it's on me, you know, Nanto wanted to take the penalty. Listen, people, Nanto wanted that penalty, but Strauch said, I've got this. That is leading. That is actually leading the way that because he's confident in his ability to take pens, and he's right. But Ampadu's a leader. He's a vocal leader on the pitch. We do have them. We definitely have them. Maybe not enough of them, but we do have a few leaders there. Tintin here saying, need Farke to be more practical than rigid. Yeah, it's just you can telegraph everything. The last 2 match previews I've done, people, I've literally said we're not changing the team. And if I'm saying that as a football fan, the opposition manager knows it too. People know that his subs are going to come in like the 60th, 70th minute. And then we're going to see at this point now the Joseph Bamford double come on at 80 minutes or something like that. He is very, very rigid. You're right. There's just no spontaneity in his tactics or in his substitutions unless something goes wrong, i.e. Joe Rodon getting sent off or Meslier getting sent off. Yeah, Michael, I would say that as well. Pascal's shown true leadership with that pen. That's a positive from the game. Yeah, it's the only positive. Yeah, truly, truly, that's the only positive from yesterday. Nida saying, my sister could predict the Leeds lineup. I assume that your sister don't watch football, right? But yeah, and Paz, yeah, and you know, just ending on this, I guess. And listen, people, get your thoughts and stuff in the comments. I'm really interested to hear what you've got to say. But Paz here, Farke needs to be more proactive instead of reactive. 100%, 100%, people. Bobby here. Oh, KG, what will be your headspace if we lose to West Brom? Bobby, I've already considered it, and I'm already unhappy at the thought of that, because that to me would be unacceptable. We keep on giving teams that are nowhere near the talent level that we have chances and points and gifts. You know, I thought we left that in the Premier League, but no, we've continued here. No, a loss to West Brom to me is unthinkable. Really and truly, we shouldn't lose that game. Really and truly, we shouldn't, but we'll see. Oh man. Yeah, Mr. Anthrope, yeah, another good point here. As long as he keeps playing Spence on the left, we're going to drop like a stone. It's completely nullified Somerville's game. The checking back just condenses on our left side, same against yesterday. Yeah, listen, they were linking up well in the Ipswich game, but yesterday wasn't too good. Even though Spence did get a good chance in for Perot, who missed, well, he kind of mishit it, but he was also blocked by the Preston player. But other than that, the link up wasn't there. And you're right, he needs to be moved onto the right to get Jed Spence at his full percent, as he keeps saying, he's 70% right now. To get him at 100, he needs to be on the right. Mr. Ripper here, that would be something, wouldn't it? We're getting promoted at Wembley. But this is the thing. I mean, if you get promoted via the playoffs, it's awesome. I can imagine it's awesome. The feeling must be absolutely tremendous just watching playoff finals and seeing teams do it. But wouldn't it just be nicer to go up in the top two? Just eliminate all doubt and get up in the top two, and then we can plan for our Premier League season ahead, a couple of weeks earlier than the playoff winner. It'd just be nice, wouldn't it? But yeah, right now we're talking about the top six rather than the top two, and that's not acceptable for me, people. Is there anything else before we get out of here? And listen, thank you. Listen, there's over 300 of you. Thanks for joining me. This is quite an impromptu stream, so thank you. And obviously, you have your notification bells on. Keep them on because this can happen at any point. We're coming up to a very busy time with transfers and everything else in between. So stay tuned to the channel, people. Thank you. Yeah, listen, people, I think I will be back with the West Brom preview probably tomorrow, and we'll go again unless there's any breaking news today, which I don't think there will be. But listen, thank you for your interaction today. Please put your comments in the comment section below, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and yeah, let's see where we go from there after a very, very disappointing Christmas overall. Started out with a 4-0 win. Only Leeds United, people. See you in the next one, people. Peace out.